This week, House Republicans are scrambling to get their budget bill across the finish line. But Speaker Mike Johnson is facing major pushback, both from swing district moderates fighting to protect Medicaid and conservatives demanding at least $2 trillion in cuts just to stay at the table. Meanwhile, Democrats across the country are calling on their elected officials to do more to resist Trump's agenda. And one young member of Congress is pushing his colleagues to, in his words, get caught fighting. Florida Congressman Maxwell Frost says too many in Congress brush off social media as a distraction. But to him, it's part of the job. As he put it, quote, if you just wanted to write bills, you should probably apply for a staff position at Ledge Council. Our job is much more than that. That's a big part of it. But a big part of it is communicating. And Frost, along with Senator Chris Murphy of Connecticut, is leading by example, taking the fight directly into Republican backyards.
I'm so proud to be here with you all. This isn't about Democrats versus Republicans. It's about the people versus the problem. Donald Trump is the problem. Elon Musk is the problem. And if you're here and you voted for Trump in the past, my message is simple. I'm sorry you were lied to, but welcome to the team.
All right, Congressman Hudson, me and Maxwell and your chair and your minority leader, we came here because apparently you are not willing to talk to your constituents, but there's a few of your constituents that are here with us today, and they have a question for you.
Wow. Just 1 hour from now, Senator Murphy and Congressman Frost continue their town hall tour in Florida's deep red 17th congressional district, and they join us now. Senator and Congressman, I just welcome, but also, what is the reaction? What kinds of reactions are you getting from your Republican colleagues about the fact that you're rolling into their districts, into red districts, holding town halls?
Well, listen, I mean, they've made an extraordinary decision, which is to hide from their constituents. I guess it's not surprising because what they are doing is wildly and historically unpopular. They are greenlighting a level of corruption in this White House that we have never, ever seen before in this nation. They are talking about voting for the most massive transfer of wealth and resources from the poor and the middle class to the rich that we've ever seen before in this country. That's the cut in Medicaid funding that would throw millions off their health care insurance in order to finance a tax cut for the very, very wealthy. And so, of course, if you're doing those things, if you're turning the entire government over to the billionaire class, you probably don't want to be held accountable. So the congressman here in Sarasota, Greg Steube, is not holding town halls. And I think that every voter in this country should have an opportunity to hear what's happening in Washington, to hear about the corruption and the thievery, and to express their opinions. So Maxwell and I have been traveling the country doing town halls in Republican districts where Republicans are hiding. And I don't think it's a coincidence that, as you know, we've been on this tour, as Bernie and AOC have been doing similar events, as we've been allowing Republican voters to have a voice, we've seen Donald Trump's approval ratings and Republicans' approval ratings crater. It's a little bit harder for them to get the things they want passed that would hurt regular people now that their voters are actually informed about what's happening.
Congressman Frost, I just want to continue talking about what you're hearing from voters in these red districts. I know you're in Florida today and you represent a district in Florida, but what are you hearing from the voters who normally vote Republican at these town halls?
Yeah, well, one of my favorite parts about these town halls is getting to meet with people afterwards. We always get off the stage and go out in the crowd to speak with people, to hear directly from them, especially from people who weren't able to ask a question. And I've been meeting people of all different types of political persuasions. And really, the questions they have are based on how all these big national decisions are impacting them locally. I've heard a lot about veterans and VA benefits and the local VAs being decimated staff-wise and them not being able to get the services that they deserve, that they earned, and that our country fulfills the promise we've made to those who put their life on the line for our democracy and for our nation. Not just that, I'm hearing about how cuts at Social Security Administration is impacting the ability for seniors and people on disability to be able to get their benefits. People are dying waiting. Literally, people are dying waiting to get their disability benefits right now, in part because of the massive cuts we've seen at the Social Security Administration, an agency that now has less people working at it than it did in 1994. And so all of this is on purpose, and our message is very simple. They're taking these things away, these earned benefits, the things that working people and working Americans have fought for generations, to give billionaires like Elon Musk and like Donald Trump himself a tax cut. And as we're talking about this message everywhere, it's really not about Democrat versus Republican. It's about the people versus the problem. And we've found that it's resonating for Democrats, Republicans, independents, progressives, moderates, conservatives alike, because people are seeing in front of them the real impact. You can't really spin local impact sitting in Washington, D.C. And that's part of the reason we're on this tour, to speak with people directly and hear from them about what's going on and how we can fight against it together.
Yeah, Senator Chris Murphy, you are a lawyer as well as a senator. And I'm curious what you think about the White House apparently, quote, looking at suspending habeas corpus and kind of what that means for the rule of law in this country.
You know, one of the ways that I think about the Republicans that are showing up to these events, and our doors are open to everybody, Democrats, independents, political, non-political voters. You know, one of the things I think about the Republicans who show up is this. They voted for Donald Trump, and they voted for Donald Trump because they took him seriously when he said he was going to tackle costs and lower their cost of living. But they didn't take him seriously when he said during the campaign that he was going to be a dictator. And it turns out that the opposite is true. It turns out that he is doing, well, he's not doing nothing about costs. He's actually raising people's costs with these inane tariffs. And he was serious, and he is serious about suspending the rule of law, being a dictator. And so that gives a permission structure for a bunch of Republicans who feel lied to show up to these events and really now consider whether or not they can continue to support Donald Trump and the people who are enabling him. Listen, this latest threat to suspend habeas corpus, I do not think it would ever stand up in a court of law. The president only has the ability to do that in a war. I think what they're trying to do is bully the courts on a number of other cases that are pending, and essentially to try to threaten judges into doing the bidding of the White House. I don't think it's going to work. I also think it's, likely another attempt to try to distract everybody, their opposition, the public, the news media, from the kind of key underlying story, which is this attempt to throw people off their health care in order to pass along another tax cut for billionaires. So I don't take it too seriously, but we got to continue to tell the stories that are most relevant to people right now.
Well, let's keep talking about tax cuts to help the billionaire friends, because right now y'all are in the middle of the reconciliation process, or I should say more specifically, Republicans are in the process of trying to get their reconciliation bills done. And there's a letter from the GOP Republican budget hardliners to Speaker Johnson. And I'm going to pull this particular quote out. The reconciliation bill must include at least $2 trillion in verifiable savings, either through spending reductions or scaling back the size of the tax package. Congressman Frost, this is happening in your chamber in the House. Do you think that the Speaker is in the middle of a war he's going to lose? Meaning, is he even going to get these reconciliation bills passed? And will he be able to do so before we hit the X date of raising the debt ceiling, which the Treasury Secretary announced this week will hit sometime mid-July?
Every day that goes by, it is not looking likely. And I mean, who knows what's going to happen? The guy might not have his job at the end of this whole thing, because he has all these different factions of his party. He's not a unifying figure for the party when it actually comes down to the wire.